Come closer. I feel like I sound like the Godfather now. All right. The first thing I'm going to do with this episode is explain to you what's going on with my voice. After that, I'll be talking to you about the future of Red Podcast. Because of my voice, there are going to be some things that are changing. So as you can hear, if you've heard other Red Podcast episodes before, my voice has changed. This happened a couple weeks ago. I thought it was a cold, thought it was the flu. It kept getting worse and worse, but I wasn't feeling bad. I didn't have cold or flu-like symptoms. I went to my general practitioner to figure out what was up. She looked in my throat, open up, say, that kind of thing, and immediately sent me to an otolaryngologist, which is an ear, nose, and throat specialist. Went to the otolaryngologist. Here's what's going on. It's called unilateral paralysis, meaning that half of my vocal cords are not working as they should. They're paralyzed. Sometimes this can fix itself. Sometimes it's permanent. I can't wait for this to fix itself. I'm working with the otolaryngology team, working with speech therapists, speech pathologists, to try to do what I can to recover my voice. As you can imagine, as a podcaster, a radio broadcaster, somebody who gives speeches for a living, this is pretty devastating. With that said, I'm not going to let it stop me from getting you the information that you need to help you build influence. So for now, this may or may not be permanent. So what I've decided to do for now, as I'm working on therapies to hopefully resolve this, is to use AT&T natural text-to-speech. And you've heard this before if you've ever seen a video from the hacker group Anonymous.
Greetings, world. We are Anonymous.
So from now on, that's how the Red Podcast is going to be delivered. Now, with that said, I'm not going to use the same voice as Anonymous. There are different choices that you have as far as voices. And in fact, I almost thought about doing a co-hosted version with myself with two different voices that are both me, or a female Red Podcast host. But I picked a voice, and without further ado, this is the new host of the Red Podcast, my hopefully temporary computerized voice. Thank you so much for listening to Red Podcast. It's meant the world to me. It started as a hobby, and it's been an amazing 3 years, and I hope to be back soon. So without further ado, here's the new host of Red Podcast, the computerized David Hooper.
This is a special episode of Red Podcast. Big announcement coming up.
This is the Red Podcast, the marketing podcast for influencers. Rise above the noise. Expand your audience. Deliver impact. Here's your host, David Hooper.
Hello. Thank you for joining me today. I have something important to share with you. David is fine. This is an April Fool's episode. He will return soon.
You've been listening to Red Podcast, the marketing podcast for influencers. Never miss an episode. Subscribe now with your iPhone, Android, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.
And David's a dick. Put that in the outtakes.
That's going in the outtakes.